In this problem, I'm going to give you a graph and I'm going to ask you to determine the equation. Now, since these graphs are kind of small, we're going to start by looking up here at the graph and writing down our important information. Then we're going to match it with the equations below. Remember that the first thing you always do is you want to find your y-intercept. Your y-intercept is where this graph crosses the y-axis. So if you highlight your y-axis here, it's a little bit difficult to see, but this line crosses the axis at this point right here. If I look at my y-axis, that's -1. So remember that we write y-intercept using the letter b, so my value for b is -1. That's where it crosses the y-axis. That's the first thing I have to find. The second thing I have to find is the slope. Remember that slope is rise over run, and when you're finding slope, you want to find a place where the graph meets up with grid lines. If you look right down here at where my pen is pointing, this line right here touches two grid lines right here, so we're going to draw a dot. We're going to draw another dot in another place where it touches two grid lines. Again, it touches two grid lines up here, so we're going to draw another dot. We're going to draw more than one dot simply because we want to double check and make sure we actually get the right slope. Remember that slope is always rise over run, so you're going to start by counting how far you go up. I'm going to use the upper 2 points because it's just easier to see given this particular example. So as I start to draw a line up to see how far I travel up, I'm traveling 1, 2, 3, 4 values. So my rise is +4. Now I want to see how many values I go over. So as I count over, I'm only going one grid line. So I'm only running +1, which makes my slope +4 over +1. So now I have enough information to come down here and figure out my equation. I'm going to rewrite my slope and y-intercept down at the bottom, and when I write my slope, I'm only going to write it as the +4. I don't need to put it over 1. Remember that slope goes in front of the x, y-intercept is the value to the side, so the equation that matches this graph is 4x minus 1.